Hello everyone and welcome to our podcast. I'm your host Angel Mirador.
And I am the second host, Alden Sanchez.
And I am Edwin Carl Pipatual.
And here we are going to talk about the Philippine military and our actions in the West Philippine Sea conflict. So guys, have you heard about the brewing conflict in the West Philippine Sea, right?
Yes,
Yes.
I've been keeping an eye on it.
And have you guys wondered, you've seen a lot of press conference and a bunch of talks from our president, right?
Yes.
About how we're going to act. But makes you wonder, like, have you guys wondered if our military is even capable of doing what our president is even saying?
I think
No,
we are.
So,
We have no match.
for today's episode of our podcast, we will be talking about the
Basically,
inefficiency of the Philippine military and its current modernization, and we're going to compare what actions we have done compared to other countries China has been harassing. So first, an opening statement is so let's first talk about what are the first important things here in this podcast is that the West Philippine Sea conflict. This conflict first started in 1991 when a mysterious flag randomly appeared from China in Scarborough Shoal. Following by that, in 1993, Philippines took down that flag, only for that flag to later appear in 1995. So remember, if you could say U.S. Do you guys agree that that in 1993 China placed that flag like because of her being close to US? What do you think? But here's the thing. Back in 1993, we were still in that time. We're still at that time where we're still recovering from the martial law, right? Then and we still haven't really rebuilt that much cooperation with the Americans at that time. So we can already cross out as that reason. However, if dear viewers or dear listeners, and Alden, could you please search for me the history of the West Philippine Sea conflict so we can talk about this.
Okay.
So while Alden is talking, Edwin, I would like to hear your thoughts about the Philippines barking with no teeth. Like, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts.
Yeah, like
about-
what are your thoughts on the current issue and the fact that we are barking even though we have no proper teeth about it?
I think for me is very. There will be no impact on the against China because first of all our military is not that great.
If you look at the numbers, that's that great because
Like
if we look at the numbers, here it gets funny. It
I have the numbers up here already. Let me just
Alright.
take it out.
So first let's look. So first let's look at our budget. Our budget for 2025 is only just 346 billion. Wow, that's big. But if you convert it to pesos, that's only 5.9 billion in dollars. And if you compare it to other countries, it's really smaller, right? Like it's really small, right?
Compared to Japan, they have like 164 military ships. That includes cargo
Yeah, but
and combatant ships.
Yeah, but
the
let's-
Philippines has 93
Yeah, but
military ships.
again, let's look at the numbers of the budgets. So first, let's pull out the military budget of Indonesia and Malaysia, our closest neighbors.
But Manila for now has been modernizing its.
Yeah,
navy.
Manila has been modernizing. They've been trying their best. And did you know that the Philippines has received one of their new frigates just this year?
Yes.
Yes, it's one of the most capable vessels of the Philippines. It's
You mean the warships?
Yeah,
That-
Yes.
the Miguel.
I would say prefer like maybe two more of the same class, but to even rival, to even at least get a put like a 1% chance against China's military ships.
Yeah, so
They
so
should
move
at
so,
least have
so
more
looking at
destroyers
the new
type.
frigate that we just arrived, the Miguel Milvar class, which was first commissioned just this year with the first ship being named Miguel Miguel Malvar entering service in just this year in April 8 actually. While its sister ship, Diego Silang, is set to be commissioned next year. So the Miguel Malvar is currently the most advanced warship in the Philippines. However,
Missiles.
it has anything that a modern warship needs to fight. However, if you compare this to our neighbors, say China or Malaysia in that matter, or Singapore, which by the way is very small, like literally like 50% the size of Mindanao, but their military is very jack. Again, going back into the budget, so Indonesia has $11.4 billion of budget, while has Malaysia has a budget.
And to give estimation to people, I actually did research on this. I estimated the military ships of Malaysia to be 82 total ships. Put into account and then look at the budget of Malaysia.
Okay, so here's the kicker. The budget of Malaysia is, drumroll please, $5.15 billion. That is only 1.7 times higher than ours. But
Yet they have smaller ships.
yeah, but if we
Why?
look
Look
to
at
the
the classes.
if let's look at their military, specifically the Navy, because all of them are mostly happening in the sea anyway. So let's note the numbers of the Royal Malaysian Navy. And Alden, we should probably would it be a good idea if we also look at our own ships?
Yes.
Can you
Because
can you pull up the numbers, please?
Our own ships actually total to about 93 military ships. That includes both cargo, non-combatants, and combatant ships.
Right. So if we look, so here's the thing. While Malaysia has similar budget to ours, only not that far because only off by a billion.
Yep.
However, Malaysia has 2 submarines, and they have ordered 5 combat frigates from France, while they have 2 frigates from United Kingdom. Comparing that with Philippines, if we compare that to the Philippine Navy, we have 4 frigates. You will have 4 frigates. Even though we have plus 2 more compared to Malaysia's 2, let's not forget that Malaysia is procuring 5 more ships. So that makes it 7 frigates compared to ours. We only have 4. However, there have been rumors of the Philippines already purchasing more ships for this. It's makes you wonder, are we really progressing that good?
Not really, actually. In
Yeah.
terms of overall progression,
Yeah, but now let's look at the numbers of the plan, or the People's Liberation Army Navy.
they've got to fix it. The military number, counting, I estimated the ships to be 787 military ships, both cargo and combat, which is a lot, actually.
Yeah, so if you look at the ships of the People's Liberation Army Navy, or the Chinese Navy,
Their classes
have-
actually includes
they have, oh my god, they have 6
submarines.
They have 6 ballistic missile submarines. Remember, these submarines are insane. They are armed with ballistic missiles, capable of
Yes.
These submarines are capable of launching
Pressure coating.
ballistic missiles.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
China
It's the
has
same.
6 ballistic
It's
missiles.
the same thing as the Ohio classes,
Yeah.
actually. They launch missiles from underwater or surface
Yeah.
to strike of land or other ships.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like under the water.
Yes.
Yeah, they can launch it under the sea, and we would.
Yes.
I mean, we
The
won't
ultimate
know.
pack hunter.
Yeah.
Wow.
While they have 2, 4, 6, 8, 7 attack submarines. These attack submarines are not your typical nuclear. They're not your typical diesel electric, which requires resurfacing to recharge your batteries. No, these submarines, or these bad boys rather, are powered by nuclear reactor. So, and by definition, they have technically unlimited range.
Yes.
While
The only limiting factor would be food.
yeah, but here's the thing. if you look at the Philippines submarine project, we have no we have no goddamn submarine.
No
not even
submarines
once.
to actually even use.
Yeah.
Which
Plus,
is telling, really.
it's very compelling. Plus, if we look at their surface navy, they have 3 aircraft carriers. These are very big carriers. Like
Before
Like, very
anyone
big.
actually says that the carriers are at least Chinese quality, be sure that they are carriers at all facts.
yeah, but okay.
No kind of quality can dismiss that fact.
However, here's the thing. 2 of their aircraft carriers came from Russia, which if some of your viewers know about this very niche fact, the Admiral Kuznetsov has been encountering problem, and that's the
A lot of problems.
yeah, and that's Russia's aircraft carrier. So
Yes.
if we and their aircraft carrier is barely modified. Chinese aircraft carrier are just the modified Kuznetsov class,
Yes.
which might have shared the same problems of the typical Russian Kuznetsov class.
I just hope they fix a lot of the problem.
Yeah. Now, if we look at
Don't
their,
fix,
but
actually.
if we look at their surface fleet, which have been the one that has been doing
A
with
lot of
like-
expanding.
like the things we've been hearing all over the news.
Yes.
They have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30. It doesn't stop there. 32, 34, 36,
DDGs.
38, 40,
DDGs, that's insane.
42,
Oh, wow.
44,
Missile
46,
destroyers.
48, 50, 52,
These are missile destroyers, by
and
the way.
53.
Missile
And
destroyers.
these destroyers are capable of destroying ships. And you know these destroyers, guys, they carry at least at bare minimum of 50 missiles.
50
doing the
missiles.
math, like Edwin, can you do the math? 53 ships, like times 50 missiles. That is like 2,500 missiles, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So China has this much missiles, and what do we have? We only have 4 frigates,
yes.
and these frigates, mind you, dear listeners, only have 8 missiles at best, and these missiles are anti-ship, so we can use them against anti-ship missiles.
Well, China has like a multitude of missiles for their
Yeah.
50 in
Yeah, plus,
storage.
if we don't account the frigates that China have, which is accounts to around 50, it's really not that much.
Wow.
So now,
Yes. Actually.
So now, if we look at the People's Liberation Coast Guard, Army Coast Guard, which is apparently out, it's actually PLACG, which fun fact, dear viewers, the
What kind of
Chinese Navy is actually very funny. Like you know,
What
like you
kind
have
of naming is
Philippine, the People's Liberation Army, like why do you need to put army in every single
that? Why is
part?
that naming? Why does that naming exists?
And exactly. So if we look at their navy
Must
and
be-
and
must be
then the
from-
Coast Guard,
Must be from branding.
yeah, must be for branding really. Yeah, the monster Coast Guard ship.
The monster?
Yeah.
I've
These
only been
are
looking at the blue water navies.
so yeah, the Nansha. This has been spotted a lot frequently in the West Philippine Sea.
Oh.
And you know these patrol ships, I mind you, weighs 12,000 tons.
So that's well into the. That's well into
and
the
for
destroyer
reference,
classes.
and for reference,
It's well into
the
destroyer
Arleigh
classes.
Burke destroyer, the primary destroyer of the
Screening
of,
destroyer, by the way.
of the
U.S. Navy.
the US Navy only weighs 9,000 to 10 tons or to 10,000 tons by average.
And remember, the Aegis class actually are screening destroyers. They're meant to help support super carriers.
Yeah, and
The Chinese Navy has what?
like what? Like
Multi-role combats?
yeah, they have their own destroyers and frigates. So
Multi-role class, man.
yeah, here's what everyone's been waiting for. You know how we Filipinos have been, barking a lot at China, right?
Yes.
Like we all heard that.
Yes.
Now, Dear listeners, we will now be looking at how did other countries acted when China was doing their own rage baiting. So first, Japan says China's aircraft incursion is a serious violation.
And that's just minimum. They're just
No,
mild
so,
compared to ours.
And I dare you mind viewers, this happened in August 27, 2024 last year.
Yes.
And here, Japan, and I quote, Japan, Washington's closest ally in the region, said it scrambled fighter jets after 2 minutes incursion from 11:29 a.m. on Monday by the Y-9 surveillance aircraft of the Danzhou Islands in the East China Sea. And more than 24 hours later, China is yet to comment, with U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan due in Beijing later on Tuesday for talks with top diplomat Wang Yi to include the South China Sea. And analysts said that China is possibly probing Japan's air defense network, seeking obtain intelligence and putting pressure on Tokyo as it expands defense cooperation with the United States and other countries in the region. Alarmed by Beijing's behavior.
So strategy-wise, if you know where enemies' air defenses, ground defenses, or any kind of defenses are, you could do strikes on them first before you start bombing your enemy's formations.
Yeah. So what about you, Edwin? What's your thoughts with China rage baiting Japan in this one?
For me, it's very strategic.
Strategic, yes.
Yeah. Because if they successfully rage bait the other country, there will be a declaration of
War, yeah.
Yes.
I think for me that is the objective of China.
Yeah, they're trying
They
to.
want
They want us to strike first.
yeah,
Yes.
they want us to be manipulated or
Yeah.
to make them see
They
us
want
the
us-
victim.
Yes.
Like
Yeah,
that.
they've been playing. I dare you.
They've been playing the victim all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now if we look how other let's look at Taiwan.
Taiwan is the main victim of this entire
Yeah,
shit
like-
show, man.
Right. Okay. Here's a fun fact, dear listeners, and Edwin and Alden. It was originally Taiwan that was recognized as China. It
Yes.
was only
actually
until
knew about
in
that.
1972 or 74 was it
When-
that China pressured UN to recognize them as China, that they're the rightful China.
Yes.
So now we're stuck here.
Yes, we're stuck in this conundrum. There's two China
So-
apparently.
Here's another article published by RUSI
About-
saying Taiwan's evolving response to China's gray
Reaction
actions.
zones.
So, first, let's define what's a gray zone. A gray zone is qualifier for challenges, threats, and even warfare. Describe an approach that seeks result from action below the threshold of war or armed conflict. Attempts to frame a precise definition raise theoretical and practical questions. Can action below the threshold of war be a form of warfare? Or is it the threshold subjective and open to manipulation? Can gray zone action be deterred without threatening to cross the line into a state of war? How can the victim of aggression escape a trap where moves to deter gray zone challenges attract condemnation for provocation or escalation that might be more damaging than the original attack?
Yes.
So Edwin, as someone who's a writer, a journalist, what are your thoughts of China's gray zone? And how it is defined, or how it is vaguely defined legally?
The gray zone.
Yes.
Yeah,
For me, gray zone is like expanding the area illegally
yeah,
by creating military or maybe naval coast guard like
yeah,
that
yeah,
to other countries or
Islands,
other areas.
islands.
Yeah, like that. Just like what happened in the West Philippine Sea.
Yeah.
Yes.
They illegally stole our area
yeah,
by creating military.
yeah. Like
But
basically
for,
those
military
artificial bases they made.
Yes.
for me, it's my thoughts about that is we cannot really do anything. As mentioned earlier, we have no power or
Yeah.
anything
Yes.
that can
Yeah.
fight back China.
Yeah,
But it's very illegal, especially in us and especially in Taiwan. They according to the data, according to the South China Morning Post,
mm-hmm.
na the China is steadily expanding their
Territories.
territory
Yeah.
across Southeast Asia
Yeah.
and other more countries.
So,
Yes.
if you look into China's approach into probing the gray zone, the CCP or the Chinese Communist Party is bringing Taiwan under its control as a historic mission and an unshakable commitment. So basically, they have this crazy thing called One China policy, where they refuse to acknowledge that China exists, and they think Taiwan is just a rogue province,
Yes.
like it's not an independent state.
Yes.
And assuming China seeks to avoid a direct clash with the US, the main obstacle it's aiming of extending control is the people of Taiwan's choice to elect government that refuse to accept what it claims as a consensus that both sides of Taiwan Strait work together to advance national unification. So basically, this is the idea of China and Taiwan unifying together, like what you're seeing around with North Korea and South Korea.
Using
Yeah.
using people at the higher ups that
Yeah.
actually follow their laws.
Yeah. Well, Beijing is quite open with its intention by bypassing government in Taipei and conduct extensive and in-depth consultation on cross-strait relationship and national unification with people from all political parties, sectors, and social strata in Taiwan, and to work with them to advance the process of China's peaceful unification. The PLA, or People's Liberation Army, is also an instrument of this gray zone pressure, including through air and maritime incursions through the median line of the Taiwan Strait, adjacent to the 24 miles of Taiwan and over Taiwan's air defense Taiwan's air identification zone. So air defense identification zone is basically, this is the area of
The
a country,
radar.
yeah, of the nation's ability to
To
see
To see any aircraft that goes into that zone.
yeah. And China and PLA has been also pressuring them with military exercises off the waters of Taiwan, including
Yes.
assigning maritime paramilitary forces and joint training with the People's Liberation Army Navy and the
And
the
rumors
Coast Guard.
of a giant ship that can transport so many.
Yeah. And mind you that flying UAVs over offshore islands and weather balloons over Taiwan, broadcasting news to Taiwanese audiences, using marine survey vessels and hydrographic survey ships as a cover for their military to improve its battle management around Taiwan. So they're even using research vessels to cover their own actions.
Another, a classified as a civilian ship, by the way.
Yeah, and what do you think, Edwin? Like, isn't it a bit fishy for you and shady?
About the relationship
No,
between
like they're using
they're
research
using
ship to cover.
civilian ships as a cover up for their
Yeah.
military operations.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think China's as a plan or is hiding something.
Yes. That's basically a strategy to hide what you want to hide and to make sure others don't see it until the last moment.
But Taiwan and China has a good economic trading, right?
yeah, they do trade. It's
Yes,
just not,
just not really on the.
the politics side. They're not really that
Yes.
good. Even if they trade, because I remember their listeners and Edwin, China is actually running on the microchips Taiwan is producing, which is, I mind you not, is also and also the primary suppliers of microchips to
Yes.
to USA. And these microchips are also some of these microchips are military grade. So this is the microchips that is being used in missiles.
That's the reason why a lot of people
Are
really
really
don't
concerned.
are concerned about this and don't really want Taiwan to fall into Chinese hands.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so and so does China not wanting Taiwan to be fully Western or a
Yes.
full US ally.
Yes.
But Taiwan has been increasing their military as their response to
Yeah,
that,
they've
right?
been
Yes.
so
They have.
But
so
they trade, but they have very they don't want their territory to be
yeah,
Yes.
they want to remain independent or at least become the real China at least. So let's now look what are Taiwan's action. On top of the vulnerability to gray zone attack common to all democratic systems, Taiwan's status creates additional disadvantages by obstructing collective action. A growing number of states maintains policy aligned with Beijing's One China principle that Taiwan is an unalienable part of the People's Republic of China. Even states as US and UK, which Taiwan considers like-minded, have some form of China policy restricting diplomatic relations and defense cooperation. UN member states that are induced to sign off the One China principle are more likely to consider Beijing's action towards Taiwan as an internal matter, ignoring Taiwan's verification of the right of individual or collective self-defense. The second reason given for elections to escalate was fear of domestic turmoil within a society split by division on cross-strait relationship. Scholars describe how Beijing's colonization of Taiwan's media ecology bring back the period of Ma Ying-jeou's presidency from 2008 to 2006 has created an information infrastructure favorable to expanding of strategic objectives. So, what is Taiwan's counter gray zone playbook? Edwin, mind elaborating it to our dear viewers?
So Taiwan's counterplay against China is to approach in a recipient finding the effects of such actions intolerable can react in two ways. One is to neutralize effects through measures likely to be viewed as defensive, such as enhancing resilience. Yes.
Yeah.
The other is to counter the aggressor's intent through dissociation or deterrence responses designed to stop the action either by disabling the means to carry out or by imposing costs to a point where the aggressor concludes that it is against their interest to continue as more like as a punishment.
Yeah, so basically what is Taiwan doing here is they want to deter China as much as possible.
But not.
Yeah. And they focus on the resilience and the escalation management.
Yeah, so basically the resilience on this mind is Taiwan's reliance on imported weapons. For like example, I think it was last year or 2023 that Taiwan in this regard has planned to purchase America's M1 Abrams, but to our surprise or unsurprisingly, China has protested against this. They protested that this was they've blamed the US for this sales of the M1 Abrams was China actually called this move by Taiwan as a destabilizing act because I don't know what they call it, but they call it a destabilizing act.
Despite it was Taiwan's sole decision to buy the M1 Abrams.
So they're also manipulating the media.
Yes.
So what they're doing here is they want to show the world that Taiwan simply buying weapons from the US is considered aggression. Like guys, I want you to think, in what part is buying weapons, especially if it's one of the biggest reasons why you're still alive, US is considered aggression. How about you guys? What are your thoughts about this?
To me, it's more like China's like anti-American policy. It's just they've been rivals for so long that Taiwan buying weapons from America, they fear what will happen.
Yeah. How about you, Edwin?
They're very narcissistic.
Yeah, I mean you could say
You could say that. Yes, you could say that.
Because
Yes.
as Alden said earlier, they have bad relationship with America.
Yes,
Yeah, they-
for a
And
long ass time.
I think they said that because they are threatened because they have their Taiwan and US corporates with each other.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, because of that, they
And if you look at it strategically and the geolocation, Japan, Taiwan, and the Philippines are all a chain of island that connects China to the Pacific Sea.
Yeah.
And all of three of us are allied with the US,
yes.
which means China is trapped within this bubble.
Yeah. So, guys, are you ready for the most exciting and the most ironic part? Are you guys ready?
I'm ready.
All right, Alden. You kid you not. All right. I want you to guess the country. The country has been invaded by USA. That's a first hint. Second hint, it has been invaded by China. Third hint, it's still a communist country, as what they claim to be. Fourth, it used to be split apart between North and South. And fifth, and ironically, it has now a good relationship with the US. Well, who do you think is the country?
I think it's Japan.
No. I know who this country is.
It's
But
our own country.
No, it's not no, we've been invaded 4 times, but not by the Chinese, man.
Oh.
Try,
So
try
what
to
is
guess.
it?
Try to guess more.
Yeah,
Try to guess more. Try to.
their listeners, their listeners and viewers. I want you to guess who's the country.
Those who knows U.S. history more will know this because this is hilarious.
Yeah.
And it's an infamous meme as well.
Oh, South Korea.
No. South
So-
Korea's situation is far from that.
Yeah. So, well, for those who have guessed, well, it's Vietnam.
Welcome to Nam, boys.
Even if Vietnam is a communist country by their legal definition,
Technical definition.
they hate China.
To the bone.
Yeah. So here's an article. Vietnam's nuanced securitization of China's assertiveness in the South China Sea. So China has been pushing their limits so hard. Even a communist country, which is, by the way, China is also a communist country, is pissed off at them. Like, what are your thoughts?
I think it's really
That-
understandable that they're pissed off.
Like,
Yes.
it's very bad when
And even
another
your-
communist country, your own blood is pissed off against you. So
That's not
let's
the only
read.
communist country that
let's
China
read the
has
abstract.
pissed off, apparently.
Let's read the abstract of this article. Facing mounting security threats posed by China in the South China Sea, Vietnam has put China's assertiveness under a securitization process. Vietnam frames China's assertiveness in the disputed water as a threat to its national security and national sovereignty. On one hand, urgent measure has been taken to counter China's assertiveness in the CSC, but on the other hand, Hanoi avoids worsening relations with
Hanoi?
Beijing.
Yes.
So, what are your thoughts about this? Like, is it so funny and ironic?
Yes.
Yeah.
They want to keep their relations with China, but they're fucking annoyed that they're being threatened. Their own ecological zone is being threatened by a fellow communist country.
Yeah, but their listeners and viewers, these two has been friends for so long. They've been a
Yes.
communist country.
China has
but
helped with the civil war.
yeah, but ignoring the fact that China invaded them after Vietnam invaded Cambodia, let's just ignore that fact. Let's just ignore it for now. Let's just look at their friendship. For the most part, they've been friends because again, they have close relationship in trade because again, they're both
And-
communist countries.
And they're bordering each other.
Yeah, just like North.
Yes.
So here, let's
You
continue.
said earlier Vietnam and China are like by blood.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Like they pretty much, they used to be like communists, like
Yes.
really communists. And most communist countries consider other communist country as brothers by blood.
Yes.
So that's their
Alliance.
yeah.
Not the, yes.
So-
But as time went on, it kind of like
Yeah.
went away.
So
Because
looking
of
at
But
this,
for now, they're like in a competition with each other. Right?
friendly,
Yeah.
you could say
You
it's a
can really say.
friendly rivalry.
yeah,
Friendly
So-
rivalry is a good term for that.
yeah. So let's continue. Vietnam's nuanced securitization of China's assertiveness accordingly does not go beyond the limit of cooperation and adds struggle towards China. Nationalism, of course, plays an important role in Vietnam's important role in Vietnam's nuanced securitization of China's assertiveness in the contested waters. The Vietnam government employs nationalism to call for public support. However, and also tries to curb on the anti-China sentiment to stabilize relationship with China through securitization of China's assertiveness in the SCS. The Vietnamese government aims to strengthen its political legitimacy. So, Vietnamese is trying to call nationalism as a deter as
We all know
tries
how
to-
that will end.
yeah, they try to use nationalism as a call for public support, but they try to limit it for it not to become an anti-China sentiment. Like
you
how,
can't just limit nationalism, you know?
yeah, but eventually, if China push Vietnam hard enough with enough Vietnamese getting, I don't know, getting bad, I know, getting the Philippine treatment of what our own guys in West Philippine Sea are getting, it could end up anti-China policy in Vietnam much sooner than we
Yes.
can think.
Yes. Plus, notice that. Let me just notice that when you act upon like a call like nationalism as a source, it will sow seeds that will grow.
Yeah,
So be careful.
yeah. So first, let's look at the one example, the 2014 oil rig standoff. Since the turning point of the oil rig standoff in 2014, the Vietnamese government has started to publicize information and events related to the escalated tension in SCS. It's bad when a communist country starts disclosing events happening offshores.
Sheesh.
Like, can you find it funny?
Yep.
So, linguistic analysis of primary and secondary sources. The researcher have found 5 main features of securitizing language used by the Vietnamese politicians and used in Vietnam through sovereignty disputes in the SCS. First is publicizing China's assertive act in the South China Sea. Second is showing Vietnam's vulnerabilities due to China's assertiveness. 3. Affirming Vietnam's sovereignty over Spratly and Paracel Islands. Spratly again is one of the most disputed island ever.
Yes.
Like Philippines is fighting for it. Everyone
it's
is
within the center of the entire sea.
yeah. And
It's strategic regardless.
and fourth, objecting to China's destabilizing act and sovereignty claims in the SCS. So, have you guys heard of the 9-dash line?
Yes.
Well,
What's that?
ma'am, can you Alden? Could you elaborate this to Edwin
The
and to
nine-
our dear viewers?
The nine dash line is basically the entirety of the South China Sea and China's claim.
Yeah,
It is the territorial waters of China,
yeah. This is the thing they're claiming.
the
and-
claimed seas.
Yeah, and I kid you not, viewers.
Is
This
that
pretty much.
illegally or
Yeah, they did it illegally. They made this claim illegally.
Yes.
And you know how you can and they want, and to legitimize this claim, they are trying to expand their islands. So because if you look at UNCLOS,
That's about when you mentioned the artificial islands. That
Yeah.
is the reason why.
if you look at UNCLOS, or the United Nations Convention on the Sea, the UNCLOS, the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, it's the international treaty that establishes a legal framework for all marine and maritime activities. And if you look at how UNCLOS work,
It's a point.
Yes.
I did research. It's apparently 200 something.
yeah, okay, here, okay,
200
review.
kilometers.
Yeah, so dear viewers, if you
The
look,
EEZ is 200
yeah.
kilometers from the shore.
also
there's a
Vietnam used the UNCLOS, used the
yeah. I mean, no,
international law?
No.
everyone has been using UNCLOS
Yes,
from
everyone.
from Malaysia to Indonesia to Brunei to Vietnam to us to everyone, pretty much
Everyone,
everyone.
yes.
So, the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, UNCLOS, establishes a legal framework for the EEZ, a maritime area extending up to 200 nautical miles from coastal
Yes.
areas baseline. Within this zone, UNCLOS grants the coastal state specific sovereign rights and jurisdiction. First is the rights to coastal state, is they have the rights
Research,
to resource management, economic
Yes.
activities, jurisdiction. So they have every single right to do anything military
maritime.
related, and they can enforce their own laws in these EEZ.
Yes.
And the rights and duties of the other states who are using these EEZ they have to navigate and overflight. They have the freedom to navigation overflight. And submarine infrastructure, they have the right to remain submarine cables and pipelines is permitted within the coastal states if the coastal state consents. And other just lawful uses and the other internationally lawful uses of the sea related to these freedoms are allowed. However, if there are dispute in that matter, the state can submit a dispute to the International Tribunal for the Law of the Sea ITLOS, the International Court of Justice or Arbitration, as was done in the case of the South China Sea arbitration against a firm in the Philippine EEZ against China's 9-line claims. And their viewers will be talking about this very later on. So,
While he was featuring, let me just expand on this. Know that the EEZ is actually, you can still expand the EEZ zone as long as you have proper reasons. And going on that fact, Russia, let me just go. Of course, Russia had an expansion on its EEZ zone because there was a little hole in its EEZ zone that many were using to fish on, and so that's a valid reason to expand and cover that entire hole. If you know about this, you will know what I was saying. But that doesn't give justification for China to expand the entirety of the China seas.
yeah. So basically, there's also one loophole you can expand your EEZ. If you have just one piece of legal land, no matter how small it is, as long as it's a small piece of island, it could be even a rock, it could be anything.
Yes.
It could be counted as your coast. Even
Yes.
as small as a small piece of exposed boulder can be considered an island and can be considered yours if you claim it just
Yes.
enough. So by this definition, China constructing these artificial islands in the South China Sea are making the on clause somehow legitimate in this matter.
Yes.
So
They're
now,
trying to justify the means.
yeah, basically, it's a legal loophole and it's pretty weak compared to it.
Yes.
So now that we have tackled Taiwan, Japan, and Vietnam, let's look into one of our brothers by default, Malaysia.
Sure.
Edwin, do the honors of reading it for me.
So Malaysia's destiny is maritime.
Yeah.
It's geographically divided into two by sea.
Yeah.
60% of the federation's borders are maritime borders. Its coastline stretches from 4,675 kilometers.
Yeah, it's
And-
very long.
Yeah, and the western portion of the federation is situated on the eastern shore of the Malacca Strait.
Yeah, the Malacca Strait is very strategic. It's a very strategic, important waterway which ferries approximately 60% of the global maritime traffic.
Control that.
This
You
strait
control
and the
control
territory of
oceans.
and I mean you know, this strait alone this is also why China is also being precautious with what they're doing in South China Sea, because if they manage to piss off everyone,
Yeah.
so Malaysia has every single right to shut
them
down or blockade the strait
Chinese
from
ships
yeah.
from entering and exiting.
yeah. So this could really choke. So it could
Chinese
really choke
trade.
China.
Yes.
So this is why China is trying to be
Cautious.
precautious as much as possible.
So how they can block those?
For
And enforcing a blockade is actually tricky, but it's
you just need a lot of ships. That's it. You just
Yes.
need a lot of ships. You need
Yes.
a lot of aircraft that can detect ships, and that's it. You can
yes,
just-
but it's tricky to actually really enforce it.
yeah. Plus, there's a lot of loophole that ships can do to avoid getting to just engage through. However, China's growing aggression in the South China Sea in recent years is a sign that Malaysia should not be complacent with its current foreign policy arrangement. As Malaysia alone cannot realistically compete with China in military diplomacy due to the vast disparity in their naval capabilities, as again I previously mentioned, they only have 2 frigates plus 5 additional being ordered and plus 2 submarines, while China
80.
has
82 military ships.
they have like
82
yeah,
military
military
ships.
ships by default. But China has like 53 goddamn destroyers. How do you say that?
How do you
How
compete
do you
with that?
compete with that? So because of this, they're trying their best to strengthen relationship in the Association of Southeast Asian Nations or ASEAN system, and presenting a united front is the best that Malaysia can pursue to dampen Chinese aggression in the EEZ. Okay, this is where things gets a bit tricky
And murky.
China. Many of you might deny this fact, or maybe it's unknown to you. But Asian is not only an economic thing. It can also be a diplomatic and military thing. There used to be SEATO or the Southeast Asian version of NATO, but it didn't really last long for whatever reasons.
Yes.
And going back to the Asian thing, it's bad when you manage to piss off your entire neighbors, and they're trying to strengthen relationship via the Asian. So I want you to think about this. Is China not real? Does China really trying to be aggressive because of U.S. involvement?
Or they're trying to be aggressive for
Because
their own gain.
Yeah, is it these countries? Are these countries being mad at China because China's trying to push them, because again they're being close with US. But I want you to remember, Malaysia,
It's not even
it's not a major US ally. Even
Yes.
Vietnam, they're not major
They're
US
close.
allies.
Vietnam
They have
is close.
relationship, but they're not.
Really military
Yeah.
allies.
So I want you to think of this, Edwin. What are your thoughts? If it's not really the U.S. fault, does China really have a reason to piss off every single neighbors, from Taiwan to South Korea to Japan to us to the Malaysians to Vietnam? Does U.S. politics really have to play in this?
I think they have no role to play in this actually.
Yeah, like it's really funny.
It's just
So then it's just like China
us versus
is-
them, but
yeah.
but we're seeking help from
Yeah.
the USA, which drags them into this mess.
Yeah, but even if there is no U.S. involvement, if we combine every single effort from Singapore to Singapore also being used by China, that's a disclaimer. But since
Let's say something, by the way.
since I think Singapore is very small, they're quite relevant. They have no ocean really. They're not even kidding. They don't have an ocean.
China?
I mean,
No,
Singapore.
Singapore.
They don't have an EEZ because they're how tiny. they are.
They're literally just a small island
Yeah.
on the edge of Malaysia's main.
Yeah,
main
even-
They're a
island.
very independent country, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
they're
they're
independent.
independent
You're very
And
independent.
also keep in mind that
And they have a good military base.
yeah, they're very
Yes.
very good, very good. It's like I want you to. It's like combining
It's
the
shocking,
military
actually.
strength of. If you combine the military strength of China, Taiwan, Philippines, Malaysia, Indonesia, Vietnam, you get the military strength of Singapore. But however, even if Singapore has
Not many.
is predominantly Chinese, these Chinese people have no business with the Chinese in mainland China. There's a recent census, was it in 2094, that a lot of Chinese aren't that really happy with what mainland China.
is doing.
Yeah, I'll pull up the data. Don't worry. I'll put it on the screen if you're watching this, because again I'm not doing that right now. So
In
so
summary,
yeah.
China just wanted power.
yeah so
They just want
So
to secure
even- so
their
guys-
lands.
Yeah, so guys, think about this. Even without US backing, if it's just every single Asian nation, from Philippines, Malaysia, Singapore, Vietnam, Indonesia, Taiwan, South Korea, Japan, we could take on China even without US help. It could be bloody, but again, we could do it on our own.
Even with overestimation
Our
and their
country,
and
Philippines.
and
Yeah,
their military. Yes.
even if it's so, even if we don't do something military, if we just decided to blockade China,
We could literally just choke them.
choke them economically, we could win against them.
Yes.
But how can we do that?
Well, first again,
Legal action.
okay, here. First, we blockade the Malacca Strait, as we've just mentioned. Malaysia has control over that. Next is the Taiwan Strait. Taiwan and Japan has control over that.
Yes.
And then just the North Philippine Sea. Taiwan and Philippines have control over that.
Yeah.
So if we put every single collective effort of blocking all of these passages, China could choke.
Yes.
China could choke.
Yes.
China will choke. Even if we don't do something militarily, China will choke eventually.
That's first where we're going, of course. By the way.
Yeah.
But I never heard in the news that they implemented that.
Yeah, not
No,
it's
no,
just
that's-
theoretical. Just
That's,
theoretical.
that's his theories.
Yeah.
But I think it's a good theory.
Yeah.
It could probably work.
It probably
However,
work
here,
unless
no,
they
here,
actually
here,
do
listen to
military.
Alright,
Unless they just no bars.
Yeah, so here. The current Asian system is fragmented, and its nations are prone to being singled out by China for individual bilateral
Yes.
negotiations in which China has more leverage to strong arm them.
Yes.
Unlike the European Union's parliamentary system, Malaysia's approach to the regional diplomacy is based on consultation and consensus. So there is no central brain in Asia. It's unlike in the European Union.
Yes.
There's not a circle of guys that can do a lot of things.
Yes.
Instead, it's a consultation and consensus.
We are divided.
So if I want to do something in the region, I have an example. I'm Philippines, Alden is Malaysia, and Edwin is Vietnam. If I want to do something, I have to consult to Alden before I do something with Malaysia.
Okay.
If I have to want to do something as Asian as a whole, I want to consult to you and to you and to
And to
Alden.
everyone else.
Yeah, because there is no central brain in Asian.
Yep.
And that is the weak point of Asian, that not having a strong point. I mean, not having a central brain.
Yes. A command chain.
Yeah,
basically.
so the Asian Charter engraves the idea of Asian centrality as one of its key principles, with Article 41 encouraging member states to reach common ground and pursue collective action as a bloc in their foreign policy. As it stands, however, its approach towards regional global diplomacy has failed to demonstrate Asian centrality to be anything more than a political talking point. So it's just more or like, what do you call this? Like
basically.
PR
Yes.
propaganda.
Yes.
So Malaysia stands to benefit by playing its part to straighten the reality of the concept. Malaysia is so pissed at China that they want to strengthen Asian. Like, Edwin, what are your thoughts? Like, how do you like Malaysia is so pissed off at China that they want Asian to have a central brain.
Central command center.
Yeah,
For me,
what are your thoughts?
Since you're not the one who actually wishes the military here.
What are your
Dude.
thoughts?
I think it's very great that they have, if they implemented
Yeah,
that.
yeah, but do you find it ironic? Like, do you find the U.S. being the reason for this?
I think they have no reason. Like, US is not.
Mind
in
you,
this-
it's not only the U.S. contesting this entire sea.
Yeah.
There's still India.
Oh, yeah,
India.
Yeah, India. India is pissed at. Yeah, there's the Kashmir region, but it's out of the topic.
I think
Yes.
why US is in this issue because they help other countries.
Yeah,
they
that's it.
support the
Yeah.
military, especially us.
Yeah,
Philippines,
even
like,
if there is a hidden agenda, it's still the primary reason they're here.
Yes.
remember when President Duterte cut off the military connection between US
Yeah.
and Philippines, but now our former president, like, he reconnected the connection between the US
Yeah.
military and our
Yes.
military.
And also, get this, you're not ready for this. Edwin, Alden, dear viewers, dear listeners, you are not ready for this. Malaysia urged to follow Philippines' lead, get tougher with Beijing over South China Sea claims.
That's the title of the article, by the way.
Yeah.
I've read that.
Please, Alden, please read it to our dear viewers.
Malaysia should take a more proactive approach to defending its rights in the South China Sea. An American expert on China who has advised the Pentagon warned urging the Southeast Asian nation to reject Beijing's excessive claims over disputed waters and protect its own long-term strategic goals. That's just the first paragraph there. Prioritizing short-term trade benefiting poses such serious risks that could ultimately result in greater long-term costs, said Yoshihara.
The countries are now
Sorry,
colliding
I can't
for
pronounce it.
China.
Yeah, like,
Yes.
Against
like,
China now.
they want, so basically,
Also from South China Sea, by the way.
so basically, if we look into it, our barking with no teeth at China is
No impact.
is yeah has no has no
Has
impact.
no impact as a
Has no
single
impact,
nation. As
but-
a single nation.
But if we read,
It
but if
but-
you look under this article, Malaysia is now urging that other countries and Malaysia as a whole
should
to follow us in
Into this
protesting against China's
into
claims.
this shitstorm.
They want to join the bar.
No, like
Yeah.
like they want
Yeah,
they want
you
the
can say it like
you can
that,
say
yes.
that, but Malaysia is want a lot all of Asian countries to have a strong connection with countering China.
Yes, as well as a stronger stance against China's absurd claims.
That
Yeah.
is
Do you know
their
how big that
defensive
is?
response.
Yes,
against
that could
China.
this could actually rival
Yeah, look.
EU actually. In
With
terms of
Malaysia's
coalition.
economy heavily reliant on trade from both United States and China, Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim has been accused of playing down Chinese vessels' encroachment into Malaysian waters, asserting that his country has no issues with Beijing. Okay, this just gets murky. He's just trying to deny things.
Yes.
Speaking in Melbourne at the Asian Australia Summit in March, Anwar said Western nations were trying to dictate China's style on China. I have problems with China. They should not have imposed it upon us. We do not have problems with China, Anwar said. China has been Malaysia's largest trading partner for the last 15 years, currently accounting for some 20% of that country's total trade volume. However, Malaysia's tactics include documenting its maritime territorial conflicts. So yeah, we've been seeing this heavily on the news and social media of China's everything from cutting off that sailor's fingers, from... Have you guys remembered that one incident?
That one I haven't heard of actually.
Yeah, and this is also
I've-
you know that one story where two Chinese vessels tried to ram a Philippine
Yeah,
vessel
that's-
only to
yes.
get
Only
They-
to ram the other Chinese ship
Yeah,
and
like
bark off the
yeah.
bow.
I heard
Yeah.
there was blood.
No,
Yeah,
no, no.
There was blood. There was blood
there-
splashes. Yeah, there was blood splashes.
There was
Really? I didn't. I saw
There-
the
there
clip.
was
I saw the
saturation.
clip. I didn't see any blood.
There
If
are
you increase the
blood.
saturation, yeah,
Like-
there were blood.
Because of that, the other ship covered that to
Yeah.
avoid
Yeah.
issues.
Plus, you can also see that there were guys on the front of the ship, right? Before it was
They
like
were-
only there was only like 1 to 2 seconds difference between the collision, right? So you saw there that there were no time for them to escape.
Yep.
So if you look at those splashes on the footage, which I will again show on this,
Screen.
yeah, you can if you increase the contrast on that splash area, if you increase the contrast, you could see blood, and that could be blood, could or really be blood. However, China is downplaying
The incident.
Yeah,
And what I heard in the news that there was someone in that boat was hanging on the edge
yeah,
because of that incident.
yeah.
Damn,
So it could
I saw
be-
a lot in that clip.
But it can be blood. There's a high possibility that
That's a
it
high
could
possibility,
be
yes.
accident.
Yeah,
Because I was focusing more on the structural integrity of the ships of China.
yeah. He noted that back on this Yoshihara, he noted that the Philippine Navy has been releasing footage of its clashes with the Chinese Coast Guard around the second Thomas Shoal, with Yoshihara described as a public relations disaster for China. During several clashes, Chinese ships have shot high-pressure water cannons at Philippine
Vessels.
forces, resulting in vessels being damaged and crew members being injured. If that is not a cry for help, what is? So, at the Shangri-La Dialogue Security Forum in Singapore on Friday, Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. said that the death of any of his citizens or citizen would come very close if constituting an act of war and void responding accordingly. Wow, that is.
Wow.
How do I say this? I get second-hand embarrassment from this thing.
I only skimmed the articles.
Yeah. In response, China asserted its claims over the South China Sea and accused Manila of jeopardizing the security and stability of
The
the
other place.
region through its close ties with the U.S., including the placement of mid-range missile system in the Philippines as part of the joint military exercise in April. So these are the Typhoon systems that
Yep.
you've been hearing around.
Yes.
Yeah. And
And I heard China boats use water cannons
yeah, that's
against
that
yes.
was high pressure.
They've-
stop Filipino boats.
Yeah.
Yes, they've been using it as a deterrent to
Yeah.
to enact like at least an offensive, but not on a live ammunition scale.
Yeah, that's the main things China has been doing.
Yeah.
It's ramming, water cannoning, everything
And trying
that's
to block
everything
the-
below live ammunition
They're trying to block the Philippine boats
from going into the island chain.
Ayungin shore.
Yes.
That's where our troops are stationed, right? Or
There's one ship, one ship that was beached there.
Yeah, I think it was the Sierra Madre.
Yes, that was the only ship that was beached there, so we could assert claim.
Yeah.
And
So,
yeah,
Honestly, if that place
that's
turned into
as
an
I said
actual
earlier
military base,
that-
I would be surprised.
and this was dangerous maneuvers, right?
Yeah,
The,
dangerous
the
Yes.
Chinese boats are too close.
Yes, too
That-
close,
That's why
following.
that was the incident happened.
That's how the incident happened.
collisions.
Because
yeah,
two ships were following. One broke off and tried to cut off the Philippine vessel that was escaping them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was
Wait.
the accident happened.
Yes, that's when the accident happened. Yes.
so let's now look into fulcrum analysis on the South China Sea with this article titled "The Philippine and West Philippine Sea, Bringing Deterrence into the Picture." The securing of strategic interests needs to be done through higher order preparation. Despite many challenges, like I don't know, the modernization project being insanely delayed, the Philippines maintains its constitutionally enshrined policy of renouncing war as its instrument in its national policy. Since Manila rightfully won 2016 arbitrary award in South China Sea, there should be less of a case for war in China, which I will be discussing later. Don't worry. But for now, I'll just pull up the cover of this arbitrary on the screen for now.
What documents are happening today?
Since Manila and strategic space for discussing responses is growing extremely small externally internally. Beijing's threat of normalizing provocation in recent years leaves the Philippines and other claimant states new room for error in encounters at sea, and any discussion of war as a legitimate strategic exercise invokes a sense of dread among policymakers.
That should not be the first option, but
Yeah, but the chief concern is whether Manila should be pushed back. Its strategic imperatives needs to be developed in a manner consistent with domestic
higher
and
voice.
the international laws in the defense of the country's national interests. How can Manila push its strategic objectives while assuring that it will not provoke any open conflict? The key is deterrence. Right?
Purchasing
Yeah.
capable
Yeah.
weapon systems from other nations.
Yeah.
And to patrol to protect our
Yeah, we've been
waters.
patrolling.
Yes, patrolling. We've been patrolling for
Yeah, but we've been
And
cautious.
for a decade now. But
Yes, the mentioned earlier, the buying of warship.
Yeah, but-
yes,
yeah.
warships, weapon systems.
The radar systems,
Yeah.
radars.
Yes,
The
From-
aircrafts.
not just from the U.S. but from other nations.
Japan.
That's just Japan, South Korea,
Yeah.
Italy, France, Germany. Any nation that's offering weapon systems, we can buy. We're buying
But-
them, but we can't really have that much because of our budget.
But I
Has
heard
been-
the response of the Philippines against that is they're also working with alliance against Japan.
Yeah,
Yes.
they've been really alliance. There's the visiting forces agreement.
Mhm.
They've been doing yearly military
The
exercises.
access of
I have-
equipment for each other.
Yes.
Also
Like
the military
meat
assistance.
What is it?
assistance.
Yeah, there are some military assistance.
Yeah, they've been. I think we've been given 500 million.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
okay, now I remember, yeah. As well as our mutual cooperation and security, as well as like a lot of. Moving on to the USA for this topic.
Yeah, sure.
The USA has as limited as when I researched this, like only the Philippines and Japan, they don't have any other military treaties
Yeah.
with other nations. Only with Japan and the Philippines, except for like Taiwan.
Yeah,
They're
well,
also-
That says a lot of things, really.
It also exposed the China's actions for now,
Yeah.
like the news.
Yes.
Like the Philippines
They're-
are now sharing videos and photos of China's aggressions.
Yes.
And it can't help to see what is the world, what's happening in the world, like the other countries.
Yes.
So, here, us Filipinos, we have, well, us Filipinos, we have every single right to work still and reassert our claims because,
It's-
we already won this case at least legally in the 2016 arbitrary ruling,
Yes.
and I will read it for you.
But for
Totoo-
me, I think now the barking as an impact a little, or
Yeah.
because-
Yes, it actually as stated before, it did give some other nations as like a
alert,
alert as
Yeah.
well as like motivation to do the same.
to support our country.
Yes.
But, okay, the South China Sea arbitration on the what's been made. There's an arbitration that asserts that Philippines uses to assert its claims, and they actually won this. They actually won this case, which multiple countries actually. I think a lot of countries actually agreed to this ruling, and that China has no historical claims over the West Philippine Sea, and that Philippines has its rights of the 220-kilometer EEZ that we have been claiming. And the West Philippine Sea branding that a lot of people has been really talking to has just only happened recently, because again we're doing that to strengthen our claim over this resource rich area.
As for your information, and many of the viewers who don't know this, there's a lot of oils in South China Sea, as well as many
Yeah,
other
yeah.
rare earth materials
That's why it's getting to be
being
there are
contested
many,
so
yeah.
much right now. Yes,
Yeah, and here
because
and
there's very rich.
yes, it's
And
very
here
like,
it is.
highly
on
concentrated.
on the 29th of October 2015, the PCA, or Philippine versus China Arbitrary, published the award by the Arbitrary Tribunal on Jurisdiction and Admissibility for the case. The award favored the Philippines for most of its contentions. The tribunal found that it has jurisdictions to consider the following 7 Philippine submission. Each number is the Philippine submission in order. Submission numbers. The tribunals reserve consideration for its jurisdiction to rule number 1, 2, 5, 8, 9, 12, and 14. Number 3, Philippines' position that Scarborough Shoal is a rock under Article 112, 1213. Number 4, Philippines' position that Mischief Reef, Second Thomas Shoal, and Subi Reef are low tide elevations that do not generate entitlement to maritime zones. 6, whether Guyven Reef and McKennan Reef, including Hughes Reef, are low tide elevations that do not generate any maritime entitlement of their own. Whether Johnson Reef, Corsian Reef, and Fiery Cross Reef do not generate an entitlement to any exclusion on continental shelf.
Please,
Number 10, premise on the fact that China has unlawfully prevented Philippine fishermen from carrying traditional fishing activities within the territorial sea of Scarborough Shoal, which is legally ours. Number 11, China's failure to protect and preserve the maritime environment to these shoals, Scarborough Shoal, Second Thomas Shoal. China has failed to do this anyway. And also, a bit of background, China has been using Scarborough Shoal and this reef as a basis on their claims in the EEZ. And number 13, Philippines protest against China's perpetrated law enforcement and activities as violating the convention and on the international regulations for the prevention of collisions at the sea and violating UNCLOS. The tribunal stated in the award that there are continuing disputes in all of the 15 submissions from the Philippines. As for submissions such as number 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 6, 7, no known claims from the Philippines for the initiation of this arbitration exist. That China was not aware of nor previously opposed such claims prior to the initiation of arbitration. For submission number 8 to number 14, the tribunal held the view that the lawfulness of China's maritime activities in the South China Sea is not related to sovereignty. And on July 12, 2016, the PCA published the award by the arbitral tribunal, which it states that is final and binding as set out in the convention.
It's really good to know this,
Yeah.
because
It
we
really
can-
gives a perspective as to what in the world has been happening
Yeah,
around our areas.
and since and to be fair, China has not been respecting this tribunal that's been conducted in 2016. Like, guys, do you think an average, okay, let's not talk about our average Filipinos. Do you think an average Filipino know about the 2016 tribunal?
no,
No.
not at
No.
all.
No, so they're viewers.
Especially those from the
I
Philippines.
didn't know that before
Yeah.
now.
Yes.
So they're viewers. If we look on this tribunal claim, we Filipinos, I really have or us Philippines as a whole has every single right to protest and to protest and claim these
Yeah.
territories that is
Yes.
entitled to us by UNCLOS.
And
Yes.
there are many laws that can
Yeah, against
use
China's-
against China.
Yeah, and I kid you not, we have already again won this case, and we have every single right to
So-
pull out this case.
Yes.
And China has not even made a they've not really made a counter
case.
and most of their counter claims are just historical documents really.
Yes.
that
That doesn't really actually.
yeah doesn't really not really
solid.
irrelevant. It's irrelevant in today's matter.
Yes.
So what's our takeaway in this podcast? First, Edwin.
I think it's very good to know because this is not only an international issue, but it's
Yeah.
also a political issues.
Yeah.
It affects the daily lives of especially our fishermen.
Yeah,
because
especially
because of the the
Yeah.
aggression of Chinese,
Yeah.
they push fishermen to their fishing areas.
Yeah.
So
Out of the fishing areas.
Yeah, like they can
it also affects us, the
Yeah.
economic, all the Philippines resources. It also
Yeah.
affects all of that,
yeah.
and the future of our country.
Yeah, how about you, Alden? What's your takeaway in this?
Honestly, it allows us to see that yes, while our barking as an individual nation that doesn't really do much, as a collective we can and will be able to withstand
Yeah.
a lot of problems.
Yeah.
But it's very good that the Philippines is facing facing this more strongly than before.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And again, and my takeaway, even though militarily we are weak, even diplomatically and
You're
legally, we have a lot of backing.
Yep.
We have the backing of everyone in from Vietnam and to Malaysia to South Korea to Taiwan and Japan, which is again we've been our strongest ally.
Yes.
And legally, we have won the tribunal case in 2016, which invalidates China's claim of the 9-dash line, and they're
Yep.
pushing of everyone in the area. So, I guess another takeaway is how really
Complicated this.
complicated, how many of the facts here is not being presented to
Yes.
any regular Filipino. For example, the 2016 arbitration. Edwin did not even know this until in this
Until
podcast.
today, yes.
Yeah, and how about you, Alden? Have you known about this?
No, actually.
Let's see. And I've been I've known this fact for like a very long time already, and
Okay, I don't guess.
But I
And-
think the goal is very simple for us. Is just to please our territory or to claim that this is
yeah,
our territory.
it's been a territorial a long time, and China's claim is just invalid.
Yeah. Without
And,
starting a war.
Yeah, and again, but unfortunately, how many recognize how many times we project this claim, the tribunal to China. They will not
listen.
Yeah, they will not listen actually.
Yeah.
It's because
They
because
just keep
because they know
rage baiting.
Yeah,
Because
they
they-
keep rage baiting.
it's because they know they have the military power to
Yeah.
actually do it, but they don't have the claim to do it.
So for us, what can we do? Like, what do you think we can do?
Continue to resist. That's one thing.
Yeah.
Like our strategy is just to improve our military
Yeah,
and
just-
alliance.
Yeah, let's reliance, there's resilience in that regard,
And I think for now the bark is not considered irrelevant. I just realized that is not irrelevant. But
yeah.
instead of saying it's a bark, it's maybe the voices.
Yeah,
of
but
our
if you present the
Filipinos.
facts, that barking becomes a tool, really.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because
But
again, we can
it's-
bark.
It's very very important to bite or to take action
Yeah.
rather than.
But again, we
Just
already have a bite,
Yeah.
and this bite is just very sharp. It's the tribunal. That tribunal is already a very sharp claw and teeth against China. But China's skin and hide is just very thick.
Yeah.
Like we can't even they won't even pay attention.
But the Philippines for now is just waiting.
Yeah, it's
perfect
just a
time
waiting.
to bite.
Yeah.
Like
Either
the
waiting
chain
the
is
perfect
still
time.
tied.
But
Either waiting or we're just not using this because we're still weak,
yeah. So
very weak. We
So
still
again-
haven't considered Taiwan's claim over this as well.
Yeah.
So conclusively, compared to other countries in the region, Philippines might be really weak, right?
Yeah.
But
Yes.
again,
In
we're the
comparison, yes.
only
Because
really
of the
country that
crocodile.
brought this issue to UN and tried to use UNCLOS as our primary backing, which again we won in 2016. And again, the UN has been telling China to back off.
Yeah.
But again, UN is being passive for now.
Yes. As they usually do.
as they usually do. But for now, what we can do is we have to strengthen our claims even more,
And rally others to make
Yeah.
sure that our claims, as
Yeah.
well as others' claims, to
yeah.
just
But again, if our bark is powerful enough, even if it has no teeth, you'll never know. You know, those who have teeth will rally
will
for
take
us.
will take notice. Yes.
Yeah, but again, Japan has been collaborating with us. So does Korea. South Korea has been our primary source of weapons for a long time.
Yes. Remember, our jets came. At least the jets that we've recently purchased came
Mhm.
from South Korea.
Yeah. So at least, even if it's not really and even if it's that complicated, but if you present the facts and what has happened,
And dig a little too deeper,
you did know that
you will
It's
find
not-
out.
you'll find out that this conflict is just China's own actions.
Yes.
If you literally look into
It's
it,
just China's own.
yeah,
Just want to do stuff.
yeah. But if we dive into the whole West Philippine Sea conflict, which this episode will be 2 hours long.
If we continue on like this, it'll be
Yeah, if
2
we
hours
continue,
long.
if we really dig deeper, this episode will be.
And
2
we haven't
hours
even touched on the fact that Taiwan also has the same claim.
Yeah, they're on plane. I think they're complaining the whole China. But again, dear viewers, that is our episode for today. And I'm your host, Angel Mirador.
And second host, Alvin Edward Sanchez.
And I'm Edwin Kraut Pipaplau. Thank you for listening to our
Podcast.
podcast
And see you
Understanding.
to the next episode.